Okay, so in this video, I want to go over the long trade rules for the 3 keys to value direction system. This is a screenshot of a long trade that I took on CAD Swiss, and these are the rules overlaid on top of the screenshot, okay? Rule number 1. In last hour before new H4 pivots plot, check H4 pivot scanner. H4 pivot scanner shows asset has broken far below H4 S3. Check weekly pivot scanner or chart to see if price is near weekly S level or weekly S midpoint level, below weekly S1. So here you have an arrow pointing to price moving down and breaking far below the H4 S3, okay? So you see that price is near the H4 S3, which is this level right here. See the arrow pointing to this level? That's labeled previous H4 S3. And at the time of the scan, it's showing that price was near the H4 S3. And you see how price broke far below the H4 S3 here. I would like price to break even further below the H4 S3, but that's basically what we're looking for. We're looking for price to break far below the H4 S3, okay? Rule number 2. In new current H4 period, price hits H1 S1 or lower and hits a weekly S level or weekly S midpoint level below weekly S1 and forms low of H4 period. Weekly S level is hit for the first time. Price has not already bounced up from the weekly S level. See the arrow pointing to that happening here. So this right here, this period, is the previous H4 period, okay? And this right here is the new current H4 period. And you see in this new current H4 period, price moves down and hits H1 S1, which is this level here, and actually goes lower and hits the H1 S3, which satisfies the first condition of the second rule, which is price hits H1 S1 or lower. In this case, it hit a lower level and hit the H1 S3, okay? And you see price also hits the weekly S2, okay? And it forms the low, meaning the lowest price point of the current H4 period, okay? So this current H4 period is our strike zone. This is where we anticipate price to reverse to the upside after bouncing up from the weekly S level and moving up accordingly from there, okay? So think of this as the strike zone, okay? So we're looking for that acceleration breaking below the H4 S3 in the previous H4 period. And then we're looking for price to move down and hit the weekly S level in the current H4 period, okay? And we want price to hit the weekly S level for the very first time in that weekly period. So we don't want to trade scenarios where price in the past has dropped down and hit the weekly S level and then bounced up from the weekly S level and then moved up and then came back down and then hit the weekly S level again and then we take the trade. No, we don't want those scenarios. We want to trade when price hits the weekly S level for the very first time in that weekly period, okay? Rule number 1 and 2 explained. According to pivot progression logic, when price is below middle pivot but above S1, it's a regular strength type of downtrend. When price is far below S1, it becomes an extra strength downtrend. Since price is far below H4S3, it is an extra strength downtrend where the market is accelerating or exhausting down. And when this happens, the market is now looking for targets, meaning the market is in target searching mode. Okay? So when price accelerates or exhausts downward and breaks far below the H4S3, the market is in target searching mode. It's looking for a target. Okay? Sellers are looking for targets to close their sell trades, which are buys, which moves price up. And buyers are looking for targets to enter longs, which are also buys, which moves price up. So we have the weekly S2, a strong level regarded by financial institutions as a powerful support target, serving as one of the targets the market seeks. So you see how we use lower time frame pivot interpretations to indicate how the market, buyers and sellers, is interpreting the weekly S2 as a target for reversal. It is all about market psychology, okay? So we're using the lower time frame pivots, which are the H4 pivots and the H1 pivots, to discern how the market is interpreting the main weekly pivot targets. Okay? It's all about market psychology. Rule number 3. Price has not reached current H4S1, highest probability, or has not gone far below current H4S1, riskier. And price has not reached current H1S1 or has not gone far below current H1S1. Current H1 period opens above the weekly S pivot, okay? And you see that happening here. So we're looking for price to move down, and we're looking for price to fail to reach the current H4S1. You see how it fails to reach that? That is the highest probability. That is the highest probability setup for a 3 keys trade, because there's a failure to reach the H4S1 target. Okay? And I'll explain why that is in a bit. Okay? And then you see here, in the current H1 period, price fails to reach the current H1S1. Price did not reach the H1S1. Rule 3 explained. In the previous H4 period, price reached far below H4S3 target, making it an extra strength downtrend. But in the current H4 period, the market did not reach H4S1, which now makes the market a regular strength downtrend, which is a weaker move. So the market interprets this as a sign of downtrend weakness and bullish strength. Also, failure to reach or move far below current H4S1 shows a failure to reach lower prices due to perception of value being higher prices, so the market interprets that as bullish. And you see that happening here. In the previous H4 period, the market broke far below H4S3. That is an extra strength downtrend. Okay? But in the current H4 period, price failed to even reach the H4S1. That shows a regular strength downtrend, which shows that the market has gotten weaker, right? It went from an extra strength downtrend in the previous H4 period to a regular strength downtrend in the current period. So the market interprets that as downtrend weakness and bullish strength. Okay? And also, price fails to reach the H4S1. Okay? And H4S1 is a price at lower prices. So that shows that the market's perception of value is not a price at lower prices, which means the market's perception of value is a price at higher prices. Okay? And that is interpreted as bullish by the market. Okay? In the previous H1 period, market reached far below H1S1 target, making it an extra strength downtrend. But in the current H1 period, the market did not reach H1S1, which now makes the market a regular strength downtrend, which is a weaker move. So the market interprets this as a sign of downtrend weakness and bullish strength. Also, failure to reach or move far below current H1S1 shows a failure to reach lower prices due to perception of value being higher prices, so the market interprets that as bullish. And that's shown here. In the previous H1 period, which is right here, price accelerated down and went all the way down to the H1S3, making it an extra strength downtrend. But in the current H1 period, price fails to even reach the H1S1, which makes that a regular strength downtrend, which is a weaker move, and the market interprets that as downtrend weakness and bullish strength. Okay? And failure to reach this H1S1, which is a price at lower prices, shows that the market's perception of value is a price at higher prices. Okay? And that is interpreted by the market as bullish. Okay? Now, what caused all of the above mentioned to happen? What caused the perception of value to change to bullish? The answer is the market's interpretation of the weekly S2, which is bullish. The market's failure to reach the H4 S1 and the market's failure to reach the H1 S1 happened because the market is interpreting the weekly S2 level as bullish, which changed their perception of value to be a price at higher prices. Okay? So again, it's going back to the market psychology where we are discerning how the market is interpreting the weekly targets by using the lower time frame pivots. Okay?